All right, I think we're ready.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining today's Planning Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. It is 6 p.m. We'll be hearing from an 8-member panel appointed by the City of South Fulton's mayor and council to hold public hearings to make recommendations on rezonings, use permits, and concurrent variance applications, comprehensive land use plan map, and amendments to the zoning resolution. Citizens may speak for or against a zoning issue, and each side will have up to 10 minutes total to present its case. Tonight's virtual meeting, citizens may enter their comments and questions in the YouTube chat or email planning@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. The Planning Commission's recommendations will be forwarded to the city's mayor and council for final decisions on the fourth Tuesday of next month. And we will proceed to the items on the agenda as this meeting is called to order. Staff, would you please call the roll?
Yes, I will. Commissioner Reynolds,
Present.
Commissioner Brown,
Present.
Commissioner Hadley,
Present.
Commissioner Walters,
Present.
Commissioner Floyd,
Present.
Commissioner Jones,
Present.
Commissioner Williams, I think I saw you there. Commissioner Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Weatherly. All right, so Chair, you do have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'm hoping that all commissioners had a chance to go over the July minutes. And if so, if there are any questions, or if not, we will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Yes, sir. This is Rodney. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Jones.
Moved in second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, staff, could you call the roll vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Brown.
I'll abstain. I was absent last month.
Okay. Commissioner Hadley,
Aye.
Commissioner Walters,
Aye.
Commissioner Floyd,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Abstain, I was absent.
Okay. That vote passes.
Thank you, sir. Let me just say welcome to the commissioners that were not present on last month. It's good to have you back today.
Well, actually,
As we move forward with our fourth item on the agenda, which is old business, and there is none, and we'll move forward with number 5, new business.
sorry,
And
1 second, sir. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 votes. We will need your vote since we had 2 abstentions.
you would need my vote, you stated.
One second. Let me just do a count. 1, 2. Yes, we do.
All right, vote yes.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right, we'll move forward with the public hearing to consider petition Z21-012. Staff, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Marissa, would you mind flipping to the previous slide really quickly for me, just so I can get that email address up? There you go. So I know the chair made a mention, but for anyone watching, any comments tonight, please send to the planning email address. It's on your screen, planning@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. And I say it every meeting, but don't forget the GA at the end of City of South Fulton, because that is very commonly done. The case tonight will be heard at the September 14th council zoning hearing. So it'll be up for a hearing at council only on September 14th. So now we can go to the next slide, please. Your case this evening is Z2112, a rezoning at 0 Stonewall Tell. This is the corner of Stonewall Tell and Campbellton. We can go to the next slide, please. Here the petitioner is requesting a rezoning from AG1 and sub A. There is 2 zonings on the site. To CUP for the purpose of developing a single-family detached residential subdivision. The current proposal is for 23 homes. I will mention that their request for CUP zoning is in line with the future land use map, and their request for 23 home sites is below the density guidelines for that site. Staff recommendation is for approval. You can go to the next slide, please. This is an aerial map of the site. The pin drop in the center of the screen is at the corner of the intersection. The property in question is immediately to the lower right, so that'd be the southeast corner of this intersection. It's a roughly square patch of land right in the direct center of the screen between the streets, the subdivision, and the power line easement. We can go to the next slide, please. Here we have the zoning map on the left and the future land use map on the right, showing the current zoning is split. This part, the proposal in question covers 2 parcels. If you look on the map on the right, it's a little easier to see. The one parcel is the triangular parcel outlined in blue. The other parcel is the one immediately to its right, also triangular. The parcel in between the two that only borders Campbellton Road is not part of this request here. Obviously, the future land use map and the zoning map showing everything is in line with what is allowed. We can go to the next slide, please. This is a proposal, the proposed site plan for the site, showing 23 detached homes. We have front-facing garages, 2-car garages, long driveways for extra parking at each house. I will make note now to ask the petitioner to comment on 2 points raised by the mayor at the last council meeting. One being the request to have more than one entrance for subdivisions, and the other one being the request for traffic calming devices in subdivisions, just to make note of that. I will also ask the petitioner to comment on house number 18. I know that this has been discussed internally, showing that potential floodplain area, but I know that has been addressed. So if you would just please comment on that when you get a chance to present this case. We have the main retention area is to the lower right, and the amenity area is to the upper left, showing some green space and a small walking path there. We can go to the next slide, please. These are some sample homes sent in by the petitioner, just showing the general style of architecture. 4-sided architecture here, similar facades on all 4 sides. I would note that these particular examples are side entrance garages, where the proposal for the subdivision will have front entrance garages. And that is the end of the staff report.
Thank you, staff. And thank you for raising those questions concerning things that the mayor was addressing. That was definitely some of the questions that I would have. But at this time, is the petitioner online?
Yes, Michelle Battle here with Battle Law, I just moved. 3562 Habersham at North Lake, Tucker, Georgia, 30084. I will ask staff if I can share my screen. So as staff pointed out, we were talking about the property at the intersection of Stonewall and Campbellton. We've shown the location at the intersection of Campbellton and Stonewall. On your screen, you can see off to the side the D.R. Horton project, which is across the street from the proposed project. Staff has already gone over both the zoning and the land use, which is a suburban 2 neighborhood, which allows for in excess of 2 units per acre. I believe it's up to 5 units per acre under suburban 2. We are proposing 23 units on a little over 10.03 acres, which puts us at a density of 2.29 units per acre. And we are proposing this as an age-targeted community at 55 and older. Venture Communities is the developer on this project, and they have actually done a number of developments within the city of South Fulton at Barrington Trace, Wolf Creek, Wind Creek Estates, Milestone, and you can go to their website to see other projects that they have worked on as well. As staff has already indicated, we are proposing the 23 units as shown on the site plan. We have one point of entrance, and that is honestly for a subdivision this small at 23 units, no more than one point of entrance is required. Additionally, if we were looking even to put a second entrance, you would have to have an offset from the Springfield Way across the street for the DR Horton project, which actually only has one point of entrance as well. Anything that we would do, because there are some right-of-way improvements that I'll show you on the next slide, that the city is in the process of making at the intersection of Campbellton and Stonewall Tell, and we're on a curve, so we cannot put another entrance point in that location, and we don't have enough offset to put another uh, we have a D lane we are putting in, and believe that there will be sufficient room even for left turns into the property if the Gore area is adjusted. So we believe that the one point of for the site. Um, there were questions that came up about the current improvements that are proposed by the city. And again, there were many questions about the improvements at this intersection. We are here to show that we have now superimposed the plan and specs that we received from the city over top of our site plan, which is what you're looking at now. When you come off of Campbellton Road, there will be a left turn lane onto Stonewall Tell. We can see that they're also putting um, a right turn lane that will go along this portion of the property so that people will be able to access Campbellton Road from there. Additionally, there's a decel lane on this side for the Springfield Way portion. We will be giving up a little bit of right of way and also some slope requirements that the city will be requesting from us. It's quite possible that this won't even be necessary because of the improvements that we are proposing to make. And if we are in there before they get started, then this may not even be necessary. But what you can see is that they are putting a light at this intersection as well as turn lanes and widening this area. So there are right-of-way improvements that are coming. And so we believe that our plan fits in snugly with the plans that have already been proposed by the city in this area. Again, this just shows the area where the pink is and then the gray part is the slope easement that the Public Works Department has indicated will be necessary on this side. You can see a little closer up as well, our decel lane coming into the site. In the elevations, we've actually is looked at very similar in design. We will have 2-car garages. We are proposing board and batten and other fiber cementatious materials along with brick accents that will be in place for this community. And again, some additional elevations. But what's really important, I think really unique about this opportunity is that we are seeking for this to be a age, it's not age restricted, I'm sorry, age marketed property that we are age targeted. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I had the right word. Age targeted community that we are looking at for this property for 55 and older. And when we look at the price points and the sizes, the units will be between 1,900 to 2,600 square feet, 3 to 4 bedrooms with masters on the main, with all of the main functions, kitchen, and the like, all on the first floor. So the seniors or anyone seeking the property would have access to all of the main features of the home on the first floor. Again, 2-car garage. We're providing a pavilion with a fire pit, a dog park, and a little grassed common area. We believe the price points will be between 340 and 380 for the starting price points. It's certainly possible that that may go up as the market continues to adjust. This is about a 12-month project to put in the infrastructure and then units will become available roughly 2 months after the infrastructure has been put in. Ventures is very much a community builder. They are not interested in selling to investors because they believe in selling to owners for this project. And we do have our engineer on that can respond to the question that was raised regarding the lot 18. I believe that was the lot that a question was raised about. His name is Wade Stroud. And so he may need to unmute himself to address that particular issue. Otherwise, I want to say that I addressed the issues right. Oh, the traffic calming. Again, I'm not really sure what traffic calming would be needed for such a short street that we are proposing, but to the extent that we need to do some kind of bump out maybe here towards the back end, we are certainly able to do. We had a meeting with the Sandtown community group yesterday. Some questions were raised about the stormwater management feature, and we are going to try and make that as earthen as possible in line with the county's requirement, the city's requirements. You will also see that we have a good bit of green space on this project, particularly here in the rear portion where we have some wetlands back in this area. And so that's a great buffer against the Brittany Park subdivision south, or sorry, to the east of this project. And then when you look here, we've got power lines between the summit at Stonewall Crossing and this project. So there's over 100 feet before you even get to the summit at Stonewall Crossing subdivision. So again, we are here requesting a recommendation of approval to City Council. And again, Wade Stroud is here and can answer at the appropriate time the question concerning Lot 18.
Mr. Stroud, you can go right ahead.
Great, thank you. Again, my name's Wade Stroud. I'm a professional engineer from Moorbass. We're an engineering firm located in McDonough, Georgia. I believe the question was with regards to lot number 18, with whether it's impacted by floodplain. We don't have floodplain on the property. There are delineated wetlands. So that crosshatched area that everyone's referring to that's on that lot is going to be wetland that will be impacted by the project. It's not atypical to have a project where you have wetlands that are impacted. This will be submitted to the Army Corps of Engineers through a pre-construction notification by an environmental engineer. I do believe that the proposed area of impact falls under the threshold, therefore no mitigation will be required, but it does require pre-construction notification.
And that's the end of our presentation.
All right, thank you, ma'am. At this time, we're entertaining a motion to open public comment.
This is Commissioner Walters. I make a motion to open public comment.
There a second?
I second, Commissioner Hadley.
Probably moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Staff, can you take a vote, please?
Yes, I can. Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Hadley,
Aye.
Commissioner Walters,
Aye.
Commissioner Floyd,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Weatherly.
Aye.
Thank you. That vote passes to open public comment.
Thank you, sir. So at this time, staff, were there any comments submitted for this proposal?
No, I do not have any comments in our planning email address.
Were there any against?
No.
Okay. Nathan, was there any on your side?
I know I received no comments regarding this case.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mhm.
At this time, we will entertain any comments and questions from the board members.
Yes, this is Commissioner Hadley. Was a public forum, did you all have a public forum?
Yes, we did. We've had a community meeting with we initially thought that this property was actually in the Cliftondale overlay. And so we had a meeting with them, and then we also had a meeting with the Brittany Park community, and then we had a third meeting with the Sandtown community.
What were the responses, or what were their comments?
The initial meeting, we had 29 units that were shown, and we had not determined that we were going to do the age restricted or age targeted community. And so they had some questions and concerns about the density. We have dropped the density now to 23 units. We are well under what is allowed on this site. There were some questions. That was actually the primary question. And then they also had questions about the right-of-way improvements. And so we've been able to obtain that information. On the meeting that we had with the community, there were only a few people that attended that as well. And their community, their comments were very similar in terms of what their concerns were. Um, since that time, again, we have dropped the density and we've been able to get the information about the traffic improvements. And then the meeting with Sandtown, Commissioner Rao, I'm sorry, Council Member Rao was on that call along with a couple of other individuals. And their questions surrounded less about the traffic, more about the units themselves. They had questions about like the interior, where, you know, we have the, what do you call it? The master on the main. They had questions about the number of bedrooms. There was a question raised about the age targeted community and how we were going to maintain it as being for primarily for 55 and older. We indicated that we would look at putting together a condition that could address that particular issue. But there's a difference in the active adult community between age targeted communities and age restricted communities. And age targeted communities are those which are marketed because of the amenities and because of the house design that becomes more desirable to those who are 55 and older. But it does not prohibit someone younger being able to live within the community. An age restricted community actually restricts it to 55 and older. We believe that an age targeted community was appropriate here, that one, that is the market that we will be going after. All of the marketing will be geared towards those who are 55 and older. But if someone younger than that wanted to purchase a home in the community, particularly those who might have any type of disability, might be inclined to buy a house that has all of the features on the first floor while still being a two-story home. We felt that that was appropriate, and all they asked us to do was to come up with some conditions that we'll work on between with staff to address that issue.
Okay. Another question. I saw that you were going to restrict renting of the homes till after a first year of residency. Is that enforceable? And if so, how?
That is something that I began to look at in order to ensure that the people who do rent within this community are folks who have actually lived in the community and not just investors coming into the community. The HOA, this will have a mandatory homeowners association, and the HOA bylaws will require that before a purchaser purchases their property or as a part of the closing process, they will have to notify the HOA of their ownership of the property. And then to the extent that they want to rent, if we have a rental clap, then they will have to show the HOA that they've actually lived in the property for at least a year. And it is my understanding that those have been enforceable. But
Okay.
it's all managed by the HOA. They kind of as they say, they are the police for themselves in their community.
Greatly appreciate it.
This is Commissioner Walters. If I may. I just had a quick question about the sidewalks. I noticed in Exhibit A, there was a comment there about just waiting for further direction from the city with regards to sidewalks or finalizing decision on sidewalks. So if you could speak to that.
I can't, if I could share my screen again, I believe, one, I know that the city is installing sidewalks along um, both at that intersection of Campbellton and Stonewall Tell. And, you know, I believe that we are also required to install sidewalks as well. We didn't know if we would be overlapping over what the city would be doing. But we will be installing, you know, to the extent that they haven't installed those sidewalks. I know that we are required to install them along the frontage, but there will be sidewalks throughout the interior of the community as well.
Yeah, this is Nathan, if I may. That would be a question generally for Public Works, but to Michelle's point, you know, if the city's going to come in and redo the street, we wouldn't want to have sidewalks there that just get immediately ripped up. So there would just need to be some sort of discussion between the developer and Public Works regarding the timing and the scope of the two projects. So that would just be something that would be just worked out in the development process.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification.
This is Commissioner Jones, Attorney Battle. Were there any changes to the site plan or to any of your packaging post your meeting with the community?
Yes, in that we initially showed, and I just realized that this plan actually shows 29 lots
29.
on this particular one. This was a plan that was shown to them. What we are now looking at are 23 lots. And so this is the 29 lot plan, and this is the 20, sorry, I had to keep going
Commissioner
back. This is the
Jones and all the other commissioners, you have your staff report has the 23 lot image in it.
right.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that is the plan that we showed to the Sandtown community that's over this area, because this property is in Sandtown, and we are abiding by all the buffer requirements that's required for Sandtown.
Were there any other changes at the community that happened after those meetings that the community may not know about?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Question for me, Ms. Battle, or maybe the engineer that you have on. Was I correct in hearing that you only have one entrance coming into the site, and there is not, can I say this, there's not even an availability to put a second entrance in? Is that correct?
That is correct, and we have not received any comments from fire safety about needing any additional entrance points. We really don't have another place to put one because, as indicated, you can see from the site plan that we are on a curve. So from a site distance perspective, we would not be able to put any type of entrance point that would be more dangerous to put an entrance point on this curve. And we already have to put in the decel lane, and there's not sufficient room to have a second entrance point off of the site.
What about the staggered setbacks? Are there going to be staggered setbacks, or all of these or not?
I believe that
Yeah,
we
so
are doing.
let me interject there, Ms. Battle. That's shown on this site plan, and for the you know, to calm the nerves of the council here, the commission, and of any community listening, the staggered setbacks is a requirement in our zoning. So every project has to have that, whether it's townhomes or single family now. So that is a required part. And even if a site plan would not happen to show it in a conceptual stage, it wouldn't get past any zoning review without showing that. So that is a requirement in our zoning ordinance now.
All right, thanks for clearing that up, because that's something that you definitely want to hear, you know, because looking at that site plan, it wasn't clear that it was.
Yeah, that's an automatic on all residential developments.
Correct, thank you. Also, what's the square footage of your the dog park and the pavilion? I think you said that was like 14 by 16. And how big is that area back there?
the area to the rear, I would have to ask the engineer. I don't know exactly the total amount of acreage here. I know that we have over, I think, 5.9 acres of green space in total on this project. So this area here, I would, I don't know, I think it's well, probably over 4,000 square feet, definitely. You know, there's just a little grassed area, open space, little trail around with the dog park. So um, it definitely, like I said, I think this little whole area is over 4,000 square feet.
Okay. Um, and access to that area, um, do you have to go between houses 3 and 4 to get there, or how would I get
Um,
around in that area?
yes, that is currently how that is designed, that you would go between those two homes in order to get to the area out back.
So there's like a,
It'll
maybe
be a
like,
walking, it'll
it'd be
be
a
a
walkway,
walking path. Yes,
walking
there'll
path
be a
from there.
walkway.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay. Um, the current zoning is AG1, and
Yes.
it allows you to, and correct me, staff, if I'm wrong, it'll also allow you to build this type of development under the current zoning. So,
So I'm sorry, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
no, I was just asking that question, and I was curious as to why we want to move it from AG1 to CUP.
So this parcel is currently split zoned. There's two zonings on this parcel, and so they're requesting to have one zoning for this project. AG1 requires minimum 1 acre lots, and it also requires minimum road frontage. So you could not do this same project on this lot with AG1 zoning.
Right. And as pointed out as well, again, this project is in an area that has a land use designation of suburban neighborhood. That allows for a higher density than the rural neighborhood that is immediately south of the site. So what we are requesting, we're nowhere near the top end of that. We're at 2.29 units per acre. So we're not a very dense project, and we believe that it is suitable for this area. So we're not asking for any land use change. We're only asking for the CUP.
Okay.
And for the knowledge of the commissioners and the public, the maximum density in suburban neighborhood is 3. So yes, as the petitioner said, they are below that.
So Nathan, in the future land use plan, was that zoning, that split zoning brought together, or?
Well, the future land use map, as you see on your screen, doesn't directly change zoning. It lists zoning types and options and density options. But you know, as a measure, for good planning practice, you wouldn't want to have split zoning on property. That's just, I'm not sure how this really happened on this particular parcel, but that's not something you would want to do.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But the future land use plan brings all this together.
Yes, and on the future land use plan now, and I'll just tip my hat a little bit on the future land use map we're working on in the future that will come out in the coming months as we review the comprehensive plan. We have removed any areas that have future land use designations splitting property. So we've put extra effort into avoiding situations like this in the future.
Okay. I will have to say that I do feel like this is a very small development in an area, that's not as small. So that was a concern, but thank you for answering all those questions for me. Is there any other questions from the board? Well, there's none. We will take a motion to close public comment.
This is Commissioner Walters. I make a motion to close public comment.
Is there a second?
A
Been
second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, staff, can you proceed with the vote?
Yes, I can. Commissioner Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Hadley,
Aye.
Commissioner Walters,
Aye.
Commissioner Floyd,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Weatherly.
Aye.
Thank you. That vote passes.
Thank you, sir. Public comment is now closed. And board members, I will ask you, is there any other concerns or statements that you may have at this time? If not, we'll entertain a motion to accept or deny or defer.
So moved.
So move in what manner?
I make a motion that, I'm sorry, I make a motion that we accept Z21021. I'm sorry, just left my screen.
This is Commissioner Walters. I second that motion.
Properly moved in second. Is there any discussion?
I would just ask for some clarification. You said accept, but it would be approved, correct?
Commissioner Jones?
That is approved. Yes, I apologize.
No, you're fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that clarification. It's been probably moved in second. Hearing none. Staff, would you please call the vote, please?
Yes, I shall. Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Hadley.
Aye.
Commissioner Walters.
Aye.
Commissioner Floyd.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Weatherly.
Aye.
That vote passes to approve Z210012.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners.
Next item on the agenda is to adjourn. And thank you all for participating in this month's meeting, and we'll see you next month. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Walters, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Probably moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Staff, can you call the vote, please?
Yes, Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Hadley.
Aye.
Commissioner Walters.
Aye.
Commissioner Floyd.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And Commissioner Weatherly.
Aye.
That vote passes to adjourn.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, team. Have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good
Thanks very
evening.
much. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Good evening, everyone.